From the 1011 Now streaming studio in Lincoln, Nebraska, this is the REPORT Husker Show, sponsored by Fat Dog's Convenience Store.
Hi, everyone. Bill Rentschler in the 1011 Now streaming studio, joined by sports director Kevin Suits for another edition of the REPORT Husker Show. Kevin, again, you were live down there at Memorial Stadium. That game just ending not long ago. Nebraska falling 21-17. A blackout game. Atmosphere looked electric, but the Huskers just come up a little short.
Well said. You hit the nail on the head, Bill. They came up short, so the outcome was kind of not what Husker fans wanted. Blackout, it's cool, unique, place was charged up, people had fun. They're not having fun as they head home tonight.
No, they are not, Kevin. And again, unfortunately, this game looked like it was going the Huskers' way until, third quarter. They had just intercepted USC, but USC gets into the backfield. They sack Dylan Raiola and injure him, and we get to see the real kind of first go of TJ Lateef in Big Ten play, at least.
Yeah, TJ Lateef, you don't want to put any blame on a true freshman has to enter a game and play his first significant action of his college career on a blackout game, place going crazy, one-score game, ranked opponent. I mean, what a tough spot for any young quarterback to be inserted into, especially when Nebraska had the ball late in the fourth quarter, down by 4. There's still a chance. Hey, you're saying there's a chance. Yeah, there is a chance, but you're asking a freshman quarterback to drive his team 96 yards down the field. I mean, what a tough assignment. Nebraska did get a first down on that drive, and, I think the play that most people will remember from the end of this Nebraska-USC game and Nebraska's last gasp was Emmett Johnson falling short on 4th and 1 because feet got tangled up. If you watch before Emmett got the ball, Lateef bobbled the snap a little bit, and I noticed that multiple times, not just on that play, but even in his first series, I felt like he was having a hard time receiving the football out of the shotgun. And even one time he went under center. It just didn't seem like he had full control of the football. I assume some of that's got to be nerves, right? Because this place was charged up, and he knew the spotlight that he was on. He's on national television. This is the NBC primetime game tonight. Just some things that happened late in the game that were just, I think the Husker fans just want to go take a shower and just wash it all away. It wasn't good.
Yeah, no, I mean, you got to imagine there's some nerves there. We can't talk about this game, though, without talking about Emmett Johnson. He played a whale of a game. You could tell he was trying to kind of do what Amir Abdullah did against McNeese State and just put the team on his back and carry him to victory. He finished 29 carries for 165 yards, Kevin. Again, just can't say enough good things about Emmett Johnson, not only this game, but this season.
Yeah, last week he set a career high with 27 carries, and I jokingly asked him afterwards, hey, you want to do this again? He said, yeah. He said, yeah, he is built for this, and he wants more carries. And, Dana Holgorsen, he kind of goes back and forth on this idea of having a bell cow because he knows that in the Big Ten, if you give an I-back that many carries, the body just kind of wears down. But I think Emmett gets better within a game, and he's getting better as the season goes on. We don't have the number of broken tackles out of his 29 carries, but I'd love to see the number. If anybody wants to go back and watch this game in review and tally everybody that he bounces off of or steps out of the tackle or spins around, just Emmett doesn't go down on first contact. He's fun to watch. He was productive again tonight, got into the end zone. And with his performance tonight, Bill, pretty cool. Emmett Johnson becomes a 1,000-yard rusher within a season, which Nebraska has not had in several years.
That is pretty cool. So zooming out a little bit, big picture, Kevin, again, this was kind of a big week for Nebraska. Obviously with Rule signing a 2-year extension, kind of taking him off the table. Then with the blackout, you mentioned it. Can you kind of walk us through the atmosphere in Memorial Stadium tonight? I'd have to imagine this is one of the cooler night games you've had a chance to cover.
Yeah, I've said this because when there's a big event at the University of Nebraska, I feel like the athletic department does such a phenomenal job with it. They do big events really well. You think about Volleyball Day at Nebraska here at Memorial Stadium when they played an outdoor volleyball match. I remember Tom Osborne's final game as he was Nebraska's athletic director, and how they had the cards that spanned the entire east side, and it said, "Thank you, Tom." They did that very tastefully. I think about some of the volleyball national championship celebrations. Everything is just done right, and it's a performance, and everybody feels it, and they enjoyed themselves. And even think back to last year, a couple of years ago, when they started doing the drone show between the third and fourth quarters. Those are done right, and it's fun, and it's cool. Everything was fun and cool except for the late third quarter into the fourth quarter, Bill, because the black balloons were really, it was cool to see black balloons flying in the sky, and especially on the day after Halloween. And the students, when they were allowed to enter Memorial Stadium today, they came running in, they came racing in, and it wasn't just like a chunk of black and some specks of red. Like, it's black everywhere. And, you know, I feel like Nebraska's tried to do different things like this in years past, but it's never been done like this. And I think part of that is everyone decided to follow the lead of the football program and the athletic department, because they decided to paint the field black, the end zones and the midfield logo, and they changed all of the flags on the exterior of Memorial Stadium. They're always red, right? Red with the white block in. Even on Monday of this week, they were black with the red in. And you know, we saw that the team was going to be wearing the black jerseys and black bottoms, and that's something that they didn't just announce this week. That was announced before the season even began. So, like, there were just all these moments in which the football program leaned into going black, and I think that the fans followed suit. Some of the media members even did too. We got the all-black get-up here today because it was just what everybody was doing, and it was fun. And then when the game kicked off, it was really awesome to see everything in black. And there was something new, too, that in between the first and second quarter, it wasn't like the light show we see between the third and fourth quarter, but Nebraska turned the lights out, and they kind of flashed the lights atop, and that was new. It wasn't to the extent in changing the music. You know, Nebraska did the tunnel walk to Back in Black. So, again, in a lot of the pregame music, too, it was different. It's not stuff we normally hear. There was a lot of black-themed songs that were playing as Nebraska was getting ready to take on USC. So the environment was fun. I think that people probably enjoyed it. I thought the uniforms were really cool, seeing them in person, seeing them live here. I don't know how they played on television, but I would assume that they were pretty catchy.
Yeah, I think they look pretty good on TV. I think it's probably a good thing that next home game isn't for a couple weeks. I don't know how they're going to have to power wash that paint off the end zones and midfield. But, again, last home game will be in a couple weeks against Iowa. Kevin, just here in the last couple minutes, we found out Nebraska, again, traveling to UCLA next week. Sounds like an 8 p.m. kickoff out in Los Angeles, and that game's going to be on Fox. Again, Huskers down to their last 3 games, sitting at 6-3. How do you sort of address sort of where the team is, you know, 3/4 of the way through the season now and just a couple games left on the schedule?
I'm very curious because Nebraska has bowl eligibility secured. What are they playing for? They're playing for wins, you know, try to get to 9. And, you know, right now they're at 6 wins. Last year they got 6 wins in the regular season. They went to the Pinstripe Bowl and they picked up win number 7. So Matt Rule, in every year of coaching college football, his team has exceeded the win total from the previous year. So maybe that's the motivation for Matt Rule, and what he's going to use within the locker room is, like, they need to take another step forward. And that can still be accomplished. It's just going to look differently than what the ultimate goal was for this team, to try to make the playoff. That's not going to happen now. So can they get to 8? Can they get to 7 wins in the regular season? Can they get to possibly 8 wins in the regular season? That'd be winning 2 of their final 3. And if you look at the opponents that are ahead, you know, I would contend that Nebraska can beat all 3. But we've also seen Nebraska play in a manner in which, you know, they can win some pretty big games, like last week. And then we've also seen them play in a manner in which they went to Minnesota and didn't really look focused, ready. So there's a lot of curiosity with the remaining couple of weeks for Nebraska football and what it's going to look like. I will say, Bill, since we're talking about the blackout and the jerseys, you tell me, were these the best alternate uniforms that Nebraska has worn? Because I would say that they are.
I think I would tend to agree with you, and I think it's because they weren't different. They were just a different in sense of like the pattern or whatever. They were just the regular home jerseys. They just happened to be black. And so I thought they looked really clean. Again, I thought the field looked great. At first, when the game kicked off, I thought the stadium looked weird with it being all black, but it looked good. And again, like you said, all these big events that they do them really well. So I think everything looked clean. I know Matt Rule said this is something that they want to try and do at least once a year. I don't know if they're going to do it to this extent, but I thought they pulled it off pretty well. So Kevin, obviously, again, like you said there, it'll be interesting to see how the rest of the season plays out. We'll have to wait for them to watch and play the game. So appreciate your time tonight. Again, I thought you looked good with the black on black there, so I appreciate your effort there on your part. But we'll go ahead and let you go. Appreciate everything that you did tonight.
Yep, it was an event. It's something we'll talk about. Remember the blackout. But too bad the blackout ends with a loss. Some people, sometimes when they lose, Bill, you don't want to remember it. But you do want to remember this because it was a lot of fun and it was pretty cool and it was unique. And I even believe that some of the traditionalists that love Nebraska football, they may not all admit it, but I think some people that don't like to get too far away from wearing the scarlet and cream, maybe deep down inside, like, that was kind of cool. I thought it was really cool, by the way.
I thought it was too. And, they did lose, but the football was good. And so it'd be one thing if they wore them and they lost 42-0, but the football was good. So we'll go ahead and let you go, Kevin. We appreciate you, and get back safe tonight, all right?
Sounds good.
All right, that was Sports Director Kevin Suits reporting live from Memorial Stadium. Again, Huskers falling to USC 21-17. Again, that is now 29 consecutive losses to ranked teams. Again, the last time Nebraska beat a ranked team would have been in 2016 when they beat Oregon. I think that was 36-34, something like that. So, and again, this may have been their last opportunity with the teams remaining on their schedule to kind of break that streak this year. Iowa, I know, is kind of getting close there, so we'll kind of have to wait and see. But I'll obviously have a ton of continuing coverage. You can catch all the postgame from Coach Rule, Emmett Johnson, TJ Lateef spoke to the media after the game tonight. You can get all of that on 1011now.com as well as our Roku app and all of our streaming apps, so you can get all that content there. So appreciate everyone for tuning in and watching. Again, Huskers fall 21-17, another edition of the End Report Husker Show brought to you by Fat Dog's Convenience Store. Appreciate everyone for tuning in. Until next time, hope everyone has a nice weekend.
You've been listening to the REPORT Husker Show, sponsored by Fat Dog's Convenience Store. Watch, listen, and stream on the 1011 Now app, on YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. For more Husker coverage throughout the week, watch the Report on 1011 Sports at 6 and 10 p.m. and